First reaction when you learned that you're pregnant?
Again, emotional.
All right.
I was on set. I started crying.
First thing you do in the morning?
Actually, now the process is Raha comes and wakes us up. Like,
Okay.
so that's the first reaction is to look at her face and give her a big hug.
Okay.
She literally walks into the room and wakes up.
Your first love?
My first love. You want me to reaction or you want me to name my first love?
No, both.
Of course, that I had a wonderful time working with Vasan Bala, who I have such fond memories working with him, and we're still working on it because post is on, and he's just like, I think the most, I said it the other day, I think he's got the perfect balance of cool and nostalgia. I'm too, as an audience, again, so excited to see him and Ranbir collaborate again together after so many years. I'm like, wow, like, what's that going to be like? And then Vicky and I coming together again, and then Ranbir and Vicky again, they've created magic with Sanju, and so it's like a lot of combinations. But of course, at the end of the day, the intention is to just keep your head down and work hard. Vedang is just sublime.
Hello and welcome to News18 Showsha. Our today's guest needs no introduction. She's a star on and off the camera. Basically, she was born to be a star. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Alia Bhatt to News18 Showsha. Alia, it's a pleasure having you on our show.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
And Alia, we should definitely call the elephant in the room that you and I are twinning today.
Yes, very casually twinning.
Yeah, very casually. Like we didn't plan this.
Plan it all. Definitely no. Alia, you're here in the capacity of an author today. First book with Edamama and Ed Finds a Home. Tell us, with this book, we see the storyteller in you come alive. What made you put pen to paper with this one?
Okay, so firstly, I'm going to just correct the question because I don't consider myself an author yet. And I'll tell you for various reasons. Because, I mean, I'm definitely a storyteller on Ed Finds a Home. But I've not solely and wholly written it by myself.
Definitely.
I had a wonderful team of collaborators on this, co-storytellers, Vivek Kamath and Shabnam Meenwala, who we were so thrilled to get on board. And my sister said it very simply yesterday, that if you've not done it twice, you're not an author yet. So even she doesn't consider herself an author, although she's actually written a whole book over like several months that took a lot out of her. Ed Finds a Home was totally different for us in a way that it started with a thought of putting basically what you value and you'd like to see maybe in a world in a creative form. You know, I've always been very passionate about the environment and the planet, and not to say that I do everything right, but somewhere I feel like I hold myself responsible when I don't.
True.
Or there's a certain awareness that I have vis-a-vis animals, vis-a-vis our planet, just in general, which I feel keeps me on my toes. And a lot of my love for our planet or just animals in general started very young. And it started with just being an explorer and being very curious about the world that we live in. Storytelling came into my life also when I was very young. Not that I would be this avid book reader where I would be sitting in the corner and reading a book all day. That was my sister actually. But my grandfather used to tell me the most wonderful stories growing up, and that's like a really strong core memory. Like I remember falling in love with creative imagination, like, oh, stories come out of here from that time. I used to just call him up and talk to him, and he used to tell me these stories about Chunnu, Gunnu and Munnu. These three characters. I would call them characters is because I still don't know whether they're human, whether they're children, whether they're boys. They could be rabbits, they could be birds, they could be anything. But they just got themselves into these weird sort of situations, and there was always a mess, and they were trying to save the day, and they were always like these really cute, innocent, kind people that went on these various adventures. So they really made up my childhood. So it came from the thought of doing the same thing for children and putting a bit of responsibility, a bit of awareness, world awareness, and a bit of ecological value into it.
True.
That's where the thought came from. But that happened like 5 years ago. And then it's been a 5-year-long process to actually bring the book to life.
Wow.
So you can say that the idea of the book came before the actual brand Edamama, which is a conscious clothing children's brand. But it all is under the same umbrella and same universe. Definitely. And the intention is to entertain. So this is the beginning, and I said this even at the launch, because this is the beginning of a series of books and the beginning of an animation series that I hopefully eventually want to bring to life. So that even if people, or even if parents know that their children are getting a certain amount of screen time, they know that it's learning, entertainment, and valuable screen time.
True. Edamame as a brand, when you started off, it's pretty close to nature as well. You entertain that a lot. Where do you want to take this brand from here in the near future? What's the near future plan for the brand?
So the near future plan, first was to bring the core of Edamame really to the forefront, which is the storytelling universe under this, big umbrella. The idea is also now to venture into other verticals. We're working on a baby personal care range.
Wow.
Again, keeping in mind the brand's ethos and brand's values. We're also working on the toys and the non-apparel department. Again, keeping in mind like the sustainable approach that we've been doing so far. So it's taking a little time, because especially the toys department, because I'm also so like hyper aware about toys sort of keeping you indoors.
True.
Where the intention with Ed is always to go outdoors and be this explorer. Like all our t-shirts, the clothes and everything, we're always talking about the value of nature in being outdoors. But I also understand the sort of involvement that children have when they're actually playing with a toy that is sort of enhancing their motor skills, whether it's their gross motor skills or their fine motor skills or their creative skills. So again, the process to bring that about and also make sure that the material that we use is not harmful to the environment is a bit of a process. But that is basically the next couple of steps, I would say.
Definitely. But your inputs, has it changed after Raha, after you became a mom? When it especially comes to the toys, the kind of sustainability that kids should be exposed to.
See, the intention was always there, but I think now I'm genuinely also speaking as a consumer. So I found that made a very big difference when we were working on the baby personal care range. And actually, it's been a lot of fun, I would say, because even when we do say our researches and when you do these focus groups and when you're testing products with a couple of moms, it seems I'm on the same page as all the other moms.
True.
So I'm not just speaking from a founder perspective, I'm also speaking from a mom perspective now, which these things you can't plan. They just happen in life. But yeah, I do feel like much of a consumer as well at the moment.
Okay, Alia, moving on. You were recently seen at Met for the second time as well, and you chose to be in a sari. You was in India in a sari. Was sari the first choice as well?
Instinctively, yeah.
Okay.
Only because I also felt that it fit so beautifully with the theme. And I don't know, it's like a certain imagination, you get an image in your mind. The idea is, okay, how do you want to look for any event? Like whether it's the Met Gala, whether it's, an award show, or whether it's just like an interview today. My stylist asked me today, what's the brief? And I was like, just like super easy writer chic. So I always have a brief, because I like to put a story behind even that. That's just like the way I am. So the Met is actually a lot of fun, because there's a lot of months of effort into just weaving the story out based on the theme. So yeah, instinctively I felt like that sort of wispy, ethereal, sort of fairy-like, timeless feeling will just sit so beautifully in a sari. Whether it works or doesn't work, I know it just felt very organic to me.
And you look gorgeous.
Thank you.
On the work front, Alia, you have Jigra coming up. Can you tell us a little about that?
A little about Jigra. Nothing, that it's releasing first. I have to clarify, on the 11th of October.
Okay.
And what I can tell you about it is that it's releasing on the 11th of October. And of course, that I had a wonderful time working with Vasan Bala, who I have such fond memories working with him, and we're still working on it because post is on, and he's just I think the most, I said it the other day, I think he's got the perfect balance of cool and nostalgia. He is and you'll see so many Easter eggs in all his films and in Jigra as well. In fact, it was like a discovery for me every time I used to walk onto set, and I was like, oh, now what's the Easter egg over here? Because that's just him. But he's got this beautiful grounding, old soul sort of quality, but he's also so edgy and so unpredictable and cool. Just as a filmmaker, the way he writes, the way he thinks. So I had a blast working with him. And Vedang is just sublime. He's my brother in the film. And I mean, I'm not going to say too much about the relationship that we share in the film, but I can definitely say we had a very seamless, easygoing work relationship.
Amazing. From one director to the other, Sanjay Leela Bhansali sir, you have also signed for Love and War with your husband Ranbir as well as Vicky.
Kaushal, yeah.
So, and he's reuniting with Sanjay Leela Bhansali sir as well.
Yeah.
What are you looking forward to? How is this reuniting of you as well with Ranbir on screen together?
I don't know. I mean, what I'm looking forward to, but there's so many layers to look forward to that I'm not sure which one to pick. I think first and foremost, just the pleasure of working with Sanjay sir once again, and the honor, I would say, because under his guidance and under his sort of gaze, flourish is step number one, and then uske badla what kya ho sakta hai, that's just
true.
You can go anywhere with it because of his attention to detail and his attention to you. I'm as an audience again so excited to see him and Ranbir collaborate again together after so many years. I'm like, wow, what's that going to be like? And then Vicky and I coming together again, and then Ranbir and Vicky again, they've created magic with Sanju, and so it's a lot of combinations. But of course, at the end of the day, the intention is to just keep your head down and work hard. Not let the other excitement get in the way, because the excitement of the film and the material is most important.
That's true.
And when you're on set, you just have to give your 180%. Yeah.
That's true. Besides this, I don't know how much you would want to talk about this, but definitely we're going to see you in an action avatar as well. It's very true. And we know many things, but I don't know how much you want to talk about.
You know many things?
I mean, I wish I knew as much as you did, but yes, there are a few news about it over there. You're going through some rigorous training as well. Could you tell us a little about it? Just a little, if you know any.
I know lots about lots of things in life.
Definitely you do.
And I'd like to speak about many things, but I think there's a time and place for everything. Yeah. Then, yeah.
Okay, we'll leave it at that. Okay, lastly, before we move on to a small fun segment with you, what's the update on Jee Le Zaraa?
Update?
If there's anything that you can tell us. Because Farhan, I think, gave an update long time back, and ever since, there's not been much spoken about the film.
So, I think the intention to make that film is, from everybody's perspective, very, very strong, because of just the nature of the subject and the... we were talking about collaboration earlier when I was talking about Ed. Here is a really strong team of collaborators coming together. So the intention is to make it happen. But like I said, going back to my last question, sometimes there's a time and place for everything, and you just have to all wait for the right time to come together. But I think the intention in everybody's hearts is to make sure that this film hits the big screen.
Wow.
Someday or the other.
Okay.
It's just about timing. We just have to figure the timing out.
Okay. So, Alia, we have a small fun segment planned with you. These are basically Alia's firsts in life, basically, since we're seeing her the first time storyteller with Ed.
See, you corrected it very nicely. Like it.
So, first of Alia, okay? So, first reaction when you saw the final copy of Ed Finds a Home?
Oh, it was pretty emotional. I was emotional because it just kind of came a full circle.
That's nice, okay. Your first reaction when you saw Raha for the first time?
Oh. Magic.
Okay. First reaction when you saw yourself on the big screen?
First reaction when I saw myself on the big screen was, I don't know, it was a mixture of happy and confused.
Confused why?
It's a bit weird initially seeing yourself. You're not sure. You're why am I making those faces? But then you're also kind of grateful and happy. So it's a combination of the two.
All right, okay. First reaction when you learned that you're pregnant?
Again, emotional.
All right.
I was on set. I started crying. Yeah.
Oh God. Beautiful. Your first reaction when Raha said her first word?
I'm trying to remember because it was some time ago. Of course, excitement, and I must have definitely shrieked and screamed, or it was it must have been some sort of shriek from my side. Yeah.
All right. First thing you do in the morning?
Actually, now the process is Raha comes and wakes us up. So that's the first reaction is to look at her face and give her a big hug. Okay. She literally walks into the room and wakes us up.
All right. Your first love?
My first love. You want me to reaction or you want me to name my first love?
No, both.
First love. I would say my mom.
All right. Sweet. Your first paycheck.
My first paycheck, student, was
All
my
right.
first paycheck.
And how was your reaction to your first paycheck?
I felt little grown-up type, and I was like, so young. I just gave it to my mother.
That's true. On that note, thank you so much, Alia. That
Thank
was a
you.
really nice interview with you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.